everyone, Sheree here. Today I'm going to be creating a scrapbook layout for Felicity Jane using the gorgeous new Denise Kit. I've chosen a couple of the papers out of the kit for this project. The first one is the absolutely stunning floral paper in this kit. I absolutely love the colours and the flowers of this paper. It seemed a shame to cut this one up, but I'm going to use it. I do have a second piece of this, which I will use to cut out one of these florals, probably this one, to use as an embellishment on this page. But this piece will become the border of my page. So I may even cut the center out of this to save some of this paper for another project, because you won't see that once the page is all put together. But that is going to be the border. I also have the grid paper, which is on the reverse of the yellow stripe in this kit. This is also going to become part of my border, and you can see I've just cut it down a little bit so you can see that that's how it's sort of going to sit on the page, and then I'll have some white cardstock that will go over the top of this. Alright, so I also have a couple of other pieces cut already to size. So I've got a little bit of that yellow stripe, more of the grid, and that really pretty dot paper as well. So they're already cut into strips ready to use. I've also got my photo here ready to go. My journaling this time, instead of journaling strips, which I usually go for, I've just done a block of journaling for this design. I've got the little heart chipboard speech bubble chosen for this spread out of these chipboard speech bubbles. I love this in the kit this month. You can use them for so many different things. I've got the Denise puffy stickers. These are adorable, and I'll probably use a couple of those on the page today. And I also have the Denise stamp set. This is such a great set. There are so many awesome phrases you can use. Today I'll probably use the You and Me as my title. I've got the Time Together and Girl Time already chosen as well to use. I'll see how I go. I may end up using a couple more. I do have the Essentials number 2 mini stamp set here. You can see mine's quite well worn, but I'll probably put a couple of these stamps on the page. I've got my Felicity Jane roller date stamp, and I think that is about it. So just remember, if you have missed out on this kit and you still like some of these gorgeous things, a lot of these things are available separately in the store, so make sure you go and check that out if any of these things catch your eye. Alright, I think I'm ready to get started, so I'll pop you on fast forward and show you what I've got planned. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cut the middle out of those pretty papers so that I can use them later. And now I'm just going to layer that grid on top of the floral paper. So I've just got double-sided tape on the back of that, making sure my surface is nice and flat and centering it as best I can. So that's on there now. Next I've got my white cardstock that I'm just going to put over the top. I've just cut that slightly smaller than the grid paper, so I've got that nice border there. So again, just trying to position it as best I can, getting that in the center. And now I'm going to go ahead and add some stitching around that border. Alright, so that border is now stitched, and I'm ready to go ahead and add all my other bits and pieces. So I've got my photo to go roughly there. I've got my other bits and pieces to go across the page. So I've got my journaling on the right hand side, I've got that grid paper next to my photo, just adding in that dotty paper in between the photo and the journaling. And then I've got that stripy piece, which I'm just going to trim down to size to match the other papers. And I'm thinking I'll put that one up the end. So just layering that grid paper underneath the photo, trying to get my spacing right. Okay, so looking pretty good. I've got my flower already cut out, ready to go, so I'm tucking that in so it's just peeking out from under that left side of the photo. I do have leaves and things to add as well, but I'm just working out my spacing at the moment. Alright, I've decided to make this stripy piece into a kind of tag, so I've just got a hole punched a hole in the top, and I'm just adding some twine to the top of that as well, just to add a little bit more interest there. Okay, so just deciding what to do next, making sure my spacing is right before I start sticking these things down. Okay, so I've got my double-sided tape. I'm going to stick my journaling down now. and then I'll make my way across to the rest of the other pieces and stick everything down. I'll also go and add some stitching on my sewing machine and show you how that looks. Alright, so the stitching's done. I stitched around that tag. I removed that twine first. I've got zigzag stitching down that dotty piece and just stitched borders around the other pieces. So now I can go ahead and add the photo and that flower. I've got some foam tape on the back of my photo just to raise it up off the page a little bit, add a little bit of dimension, and that foam tape is also helping to keep my flower stuck down as well. So I've just sort of pulled up the ends of the flower there, and I'm just going to add a couple of foam dots behind that to add more dimension. So it's sort of sitting up off the page as well. Right, here come my leaves, and I've got another couple of little buds as well to tuck in. So I'm just using some thin double-sided tape on the back of those leaves, and I am running out of that thin double-sided tape. I use it so much, I think I use the thin double-sided tape more than anything else. Alright, so I've got some leaves getting tucked in under that side. The other ones are going at the top there. Stick that one in there. And then I've got the other little flower buds, which I'm just going to tuck in as well. So one going in there, and I've got another one just to go next to it, just to add another layer. Okay, so that's looking good. Now I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. So I've got my Denise stamp set there. I've got the You and Me for my title. I've got the other stamps ready to go. Now I'm using Stays On ink for this one. I'm using lots and lots of ink. This ink pad is actually starting to run dry, and I've just ordered a new one because I use it so much. It's not inking up as well as it used to, but it's going to be okay for this project. So I've cut that one out, and that's just getting stuck sort of over the bottom of that photo. So I've got another stamp now, and I think this is one that says Girl Time. Nice outline stamp. And I'm going to go directly onto the page for this, so hoping I've got nice ink coverage on this stamp, and then straight onto the page just underneath that title, and it's looking good. So next up I've got the phrase that says I love this, and that's from the Essentials No. 2 mini stamp set. I use this one all the time. It says I love this, so that's looking good as well. And this next stamp is also from the same stamp set. It says this makes me happy, and I've used this stamp so much it actually, you'll see it's just come off the stamp block and stuck to my ink pad. So I did actually go away and give that one a nice little clean up, and now that's working really well. Alright, so under that I've got the little heart stamp, so I'm just going to put that one right at the very bottom of that stamping. Just had a little practice on the scrap piece of paper there, and onto the page. Alright, so this next stamp I have says Time Together, and I've actually decided to stamp it onto one of the labels from the die cut pack. So I've got it there, it's stamped on there with Stays On. And I'm just going to trim it down because the foam tape I've got under my photo is stopping it from being tucked under too far. So I've trimmed that off and just sticking that above the photo there. Alright, so next up I've got that little speech bubble to go on just at the bottom right of my photo. And I forgot to do it on camera, but I did end up using a couple of the puffy stickers as well. You'll see in the close-up photos at the end I've got a couple of butterflies, and I did add a little yellow heart to the center of that stamped heart as well. So just adding my date to this page, and it is done. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing this one come together. Let me know if you've got any questions. I'll answer you as soon as I possibly can. If you just pop it down below, there'll be a link to Felicity Jane below as well, and I'll leave you with these close-up photos. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today. See you next time. Bye for now.